morning. This is our pre-algebra video for Thursday, April 9th. We are on 13.8 and we are going to be finding the volumes of pyramids, cones, and spheres. So yesterday we began talking about volume and how a volume is made up of cubes. So area are the flat squares, and then volume we begin to use cubes so we can see how much it takes to fill up a 3D item. So look at the shapes there on the top of page 582. Let's talk about those shapes so we can remember. We have a pyramid, okay, and so if you remember, a pyramid will have a base on the bottom and then comes to a point and is made up of triangles all the way around. There's a height of the pyramid that goes from the middle. Remember, if I stand in the middle and I touch the point, that's the height of the pyramid. But then we talk about the slant height. So if I was standing on the edge of the pyramid and I wanted to reach up and touch the point, this is the slant height of the pyramid. And of course we have the length and the width of the base. A cube you guys are pretty familiar with, or a rectangular prism. Then we have the cylinder, right, which has a circle and a circle for the bases. And then remember, it has a rectangle that's folded around those circles. Okay? And then we have a cone. A cone has a circular base and it comes to a point at the top. Notice the difference between a cylinder and a cone. Okay, so, and then a sphere is like a basketball, right? A round, perfectly round, it has no flat sides to it. Okay, so let's start with our formula for the volume of a pyramid or a cone. Okay, so pyramid or cone. Volume equals 1/3 BH. Okay, now what does B mean? B is the area of the base. Area of the base. And then the height, of course, of the shape. Okay, so knowing that, let's move to example 1. Example 1 says, find the volume of the square pyramid. Okay, so we have a pyramid here, and we're going to find the volume. Okay, so I'm going to use my formula here. And in the picture, we see that, I'm going to go ahead and put 1/3 base, area of the base times the height. So remember, it's not just the base, it's the area of the base. Well, let's look at our picture. It looks like the base has a length and a width of 8 and 8. So just my base is 8 and 8. So how do I find the area of a square? 8 times 8 is 64. So I can go ahead and fill that in. And the height we can see of the shape is 12 centimeters. So it starts in the middle, makes that little right triangle, and goes up to the point. Okay, and that one is 12 centimeters. So our height is 12. Okay, so now that we've filled that in, let's go ahead and put that into our calculator. Make sure that you're doing these with me to make sure that you're understanding how to put these into your calculator. I'm going to do 64 times 12. And then I'm going to take that and divide it by 3. And I get 256. So the volume equals 256 centimeters cubed. That's example 1. Let's move on. Excuse me. Let's move on to example 2. So example 2 says find the volume of the cone. So pyramids or cones, we're using the same one. So the volume equals 1/3 the area of the base times the height of the shape. Well, the height is really easy. It's 6, right? So I have the volume equals 1/3. I'm going to leave that base out for just a second and go ahead and put my height as 6. Now, what is the shape of the bottom of the cone? It's a circle. Okay, so how do we find the area of a circle? So we have to flip back through and find our formula for the area of a circle. So I'm just going to look at that circle that's on that cone, and it's 4 centimeters is the radius. Okay, and so the area is, if you'll remember, the area of a circle is pi r squared. Okay, so our radius is 4, so we're going to have pi, 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that in here, 16 pi. Okay, now let's let our calculator do the work for us. Let's take 6 times 16 pi, so I'm going to do 16 times 3.14 times 6 equals, and then I'm going to divide by 3. Make sure you get your answer. So on my calculator, I don't know if you can see that, but I want to do all my multiplying, get an answer of that 301.44, and then divide by 3. Don't put it all into one problem. 100.48, and they say round to the nearest tenth, so 105/10. What was our measurement in? It was in centimeters, so it will be centimeters cubed. Okay. Let's keep moving on. So next is the formula for a volume of a sphere. So this is the formula for the volume of a sphere. The volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so we're taking 4/3 times pi times the radius cubed. So what does that mean? It means the radius times the radius times the radius. Okay, so let's go ahead and do example 3 there. It says find the volume of a sphere that has a diameter of 15 feet to the nearest 100. Okay, so if I did my sphere and I have the middle circle, which is the biggest one, I'm going to cut my basketball in half, and I'm going to turn it so that I can see that middle circle. So I'm just turning this one to face us, and it says it has a diameter, which we know goes all the way across through the middle, of 15 feet. Okay, find the number of gallons in which it will hold. Okay, and then it tells us that 1 foot equals 7.48 gallons. So we'll come back to that. Okay, so the first thing we have to do to be able to find the volume is to find the radius. Well, here we have 15 feet is the diameter. So we have to cut that in half, don't we? So we should get 7.5 feet for the radius. Okay, so let's come over here and let's plug this into our formula. So volume equals 4/3 pi 7.5 cubed. Okay, so let's get our calculator and let's put that in. Okay, now we have to think about order of operations. We need to do our exponent first here. So let's do 7.5 times 7.5 times 7.5. And we get 421.875. Okay? All right. So now let's multiply these two together. Let's take that number and times 3.14. So now we have 4/3 times 1324.6875. Okay? Now how do we multiply fractions? Well, I'm going to put this one over 1, right? So now I'm multiplying across. I'm going to rewrite this 4/3. Okay, so we can see that multiplication problem. So I'm going to take this number, which is still in my calculator, and I'm going to multiply it times 4. Okay, and I get 5298.75, and 3 times 1 is 3. Now I have a division problem, so I'm going to take that entire number, still in there, so I can just say divided by 3 equals 1766.25. Now, this is what the volume equals, and it's in what? Feet cubed. Okay? Now, let's come back to our problem and see what it says. It says, I'm going to check my answer really quick. Yep, we got that right. Now it says, find the number of gallons it will hold. Well, each one of these feet is equal to 7.48 gallons. So that means that we have to take this number and multiply it times that number of gallons. So I'm going to multiply it times 7.48, and I get this number. So it will hold 13211.55 gallons. There we go. Okay, example 4. Find the radius of a sphere with a volume of 288 pi meters cubed. Okay, so we know that our volume, in this case, we have that, and it equals 288 pi. So we're going to plug that in for our volume, equals, and then let's write out the rest of our problem here. Okay, so now we have an algebraic equation, and we want to solve for r. So I'm going to flip-flop this for you. So 4/3 pi r cubed equals 288 pi. Okay, so the first thing, let's just, we have this fraction here, which is multiplied. So we want to divide by 4/3. Okay, so that they'll cancel. So I want to divide by 4/3. Now this is a funny looking problem, isn't it? It always confuses students when we have two division signs. Well, let me come out to the side and write this a little bit different. 288 divided by 4/3. Does this look like something you can do? Keep it, change it, flip it. Okay, so let me go ahead and solve that. So 288 times 3, so I get 864 over 4. Let me go ahead and finish that problem up. 216. Okay, so 216. So now I have pi r cubed equals 216 pi. So we solved this and bring down that pi. Divide both sides by pi, and they cancel out. Now what I've got left is r cubed. Let me go ahead and write it up here. R cubed equals 216. So in this case, we have to take the cubed root. So I have to take the cubed root of this one. Now, how do I do that? Remember, I take 216 and I began to break it down, and instead of finding 2 things in my factor tree to take out, I have to find 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and break that up. 216, let's take that, 216 divided by 2, 108. So 2 and 108. Let's divide it by 2 again. I get 2 and 54. And then, is it 6 times 7? No. 8 times 7? No. Let's just take 54 divided by 2 again. 27. So 2 and 27. Now hang with me. I just found a group of 3. Okay. Let's see if we can break down 27. 3 and 9. 3 and 3. So I'm able to take out a 3, and I'm able to take out a 2, and 2 times 3 is what? 6. Okay? So R equals 6. So what is the radius of our circle? Our radius equals 6, and we need a measurement. Let me look. What were we measuring in? Meters. So the radius is 6 meters. Okay. All right, and that is all of our examples for today. I hope that gives you a good start. You need your calculator, and you need to be able to use it well. Make sure that when I'm doing the examples that you're actually pause it if you need more time. Do those examples with your calculator. It will help you learn. Make sure you're writing these down and not just watching. Work those out. If you haven't, go back, rewind the video, and work these out, because if you can get these answers, then you'll understand better how to do your work in your workbook. Let's do 1 through 27 odds.